Можемо розпочинати.
Доброго вечора, друзі. Мене звати Станіслав Подячев, і я радий вітати вас на каналі Tune.ai від імені Talents AI Foundation. Триває підготовчий етап нашого Equality Hackathon, який розпочався 16 листопада. І нагадую, що фінальна частина, де будуть представлені проекти та названі переможці хакатону, проходитиме 16 та 17 грудня в Юніт-Сіті. Для того, щоб взяти участь у хакатоні, вам необхідно самостійно або з командою зареєструватися на сайті Tune.ai.org та придумати ідею, яку ви будете реалізовувати. Ну і трохи про сам формат хакатону. Цього разу він присвячений темі захисту прав людини, рівності та толерантності на перетині із технологією генеративного штучного інтелекту. Отже, проекти, які розроблятимуть учасники, будуть оцінюватись нашими партнерами з міжнародних організацій, Міністерства закордонних справ України саме по цих критеріях: права людини, рівність, толерантність і технологія штучного інтелекту. Найкращі з цих проєктів отримують призи від спонсорів, а також можливість бути масштабованими на міжнародному рівні через мережу представниць міжнародних організацій. А сьогодні з нами якраз представник одного зі спонсорів, CEO компанії Blackbox.ua, Yevhen Sarantsov. Євген, доброго дня.
Вітаю, друзі. Дякую, Стас, що запросив. Дякую за хакатон. Дякую за таку подію. Вона важлива. Технології генеративного штучного інтелекту розвиваються дуже швидко, і ми всі намагаємося зрозуміти, що взагалі з нею робити, яку вона може створювати цінність, тому що цінність зі спілкування в чатом GPT ми відчули всі. Вона нас вразила, принаймні. А як з цього здобути реальну цінність? Зараз, я думаю, над цим працює багато команд по всьому світу. Ну і ми, українці, звичайно, не могли пройти повз цієї технології і також розпочали працювати. Тому вітаю всіх учасників, хто нас дивиться через трансляцію, хто сьогодні з нами в Zoom. Будемо говорити про Blackbox.ua, генеративний штучний інтелект та ігри. І це важливо. Дякую.
Так, тема ігор, вона дуже актуальна, тому що саме через ігрову динаміку можна говорити на дуже такі чутливі, складні теми. І ми були, до речі, нещодавно на моноспектаклі, де грала одна акторка і викликала глядачів. І от був такий епізод, коли з дитиною ніби директор школи говорила через ляльку. Ну і взагалі в дитячій психології такий трюк використовується. Ми з вами всі грали в солдатики, хтось в ляльки грав, і наша гра наділяла, наша уява, точніше, наділяла цих от солдатиків або ляльок якимись властивостями. І ми через ці ігри навчалися поводити себе в суспільстві, мали якісь ролі. Звичайно, деякі колеги скажуть, що ці ролі і гендерні стереотипи, вони там десь нав'язані, десь може було щось не так, як мало би бути, але тим не менше гра дає можливість створювати, моделювати світ, і в цій моделі світу моделювати або перевіряти якісь поведінкові гіпотези. І оскільки і бізнес, і діяльність громадських організацій, вони якраз про це, то ми сьогодні про ігри також поговоримо. But now we have to switch to English. I think it's not a problem for our participants because Ukraine is Europe, and we are happy to meet and to greet our colleague from UNESCO, Mariagrazia Squicciarini. Mariagrazia is one of the most experienced in hackathons and AI in UNESCO stuff. So, Mariagrazia, let me introduce my colleague Yevhen Sarantsov from Black Box UA. This company is a sponsor of our hackathon, and this company provides prizes for our participants. Can you please meet Mariagrazia?
Yeah, nice to meet you.
How can you
Nice to meet you, colleague. I'm very sorry for the delay, but I'm in India actually for the Global Partnership on AI. And so we are still discussing and negotiating. And then I was until the last moment, and then it took me more than supposed to connect. So I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's okay.
When you will be in Ukraine, I hope our negotiations will be also interesting. So we will be waiting for you here in Ukraine, and not on this hackathon, as I understand, but maybe next one. Okay. We were discussing with Yevhen the connection between AI, between the business sphere, NGO sphere, human rights sphere, and culture. And from all these perspectives, AI seems to be a tool which can be useful for modeling and for discussing different tough themes, tough topics. From your experience, Mariagrazia, which directions or which topics here in human rights and tolerance direction are the most highlighted during hackathons all over the globe where you were taking part as a mentor or a jury or an organizer? Oh, your microphone is off. Your microphone is still off.
It wouldn't unmute. That was the problem. So I was trying the tricks. So actually, can you hear me well?
Yes, sure.
Good. So actually, AI can really be applied to many things. So this is one thing that we are discussing here. And I'll give you an example of something that we really did recently that tells you how big the penetration of AI is already and can be, right? So I don't know if you know, but UNESCO got during the last general conference, which took place in November, the mandate to work on a recommendation on the ethics of neurotechnology, which is a new type of technology, and a field that normally one would associate to medicine, to sensors, perhaps to some extent, and to medical devices, basically. Well, it turns out that a study I did and presented back in July found out that most of the developments are actually related to artificial intelligence, which makes a lot of sense if you think about the fact that all the signals that come from the sensors, for instance, the blinking or not that I might do, for instance, in front of a camera, if captured by whatever device, so a visual sensor or I don't know, an audio sensor or whatever description, and then the information that's collected is analyzed by AI, I get a lot of information that before I didn't have. How tired I am, how motivated I am, how happy I am. I mean, the other application, we know in some countries that looking at the iris of the eye can detect whether you are enjoying the conversation or not, whether you are uncomfortable with the conversation or not. Now, why was I saying this? And now this links to culture. Well, I did this work study with some colleagues of mine, which are perhaps even more geek than I am, not perhaps really. And we decided to create our own song of the relationship between neurotechnology and AI as a converging technology. So we are passing from hard technology to music, to culture. And we actually decided that we wanted to have a pop song. So we fed into the system, into, of course, ChatGPT-like software. I'm not going to, so since ChatGPT is typically known by everybody, that's the name I'm going to have. But of course, there are plenty out there for images, for whatever. So we fed the report to one generative generative AI platform in order to generate an image that will mirror the content of our report on neurotechnologies. And on another one, we asked actually to compile music and text for a song, which we wanted to be pop song. So now we have not only the report, which is based on scientific publication and patents, mainly analyzed through AI again, because the content, I mean, you can't read 100,000 of patents to see which one are neurotechnology, which one are not. You can start, as we did, from scientific publications that are actually tagged and cataloged as neurotechnology related. And then from there, through content analysis, text analysis, and all the rest of it, we moved from analyzing scientific publication, which are a text that you, as you understand, is very long compared to what you have in patents, especially in what it is. I don't know how familiar you might be with patents, but patents are documents that contain a brief description at the beginning, which is the summary, and then they have the claims that tell you exactly what an innovation does, basically. So we analyze first just the summary and then also the claims, although the claims are written in a way that can take the system away from the understanding. And then from that, we got our definition of neurotechnology, double-checked with experts that we were not shooting in a completely irrelevant direction. And so at that point, what we did, as I said, was to feed it to generative AI in two different directions. Text, well, images and music. So now we have a song. So we have a picture that actually shows, well, the picture doesn't look fantastically, how to say, inspiring. But if you look into it, it actually is funny to see that there are many of the elements that we do have in our report. So of course, this is something that we did for fun. But there are artists that don't do it for fun, that can help them produce their own products, perfect them, and I mean, you can see the bad and the good angle to that. Like if you think about the strike in Hollywood of the actors. Now, of course, they don't want to be paid for shooting 5 minutes and then artificial intelligence takes over and the rest of the movie is done through artificial intelligence. But think about the stunters and people that risk their life in order to cover some scenes that are very dangerous. Well, then you don't need that anymore. So there are the good and bad sides of, and of course, this needs to be balanced. So it gets into culture, it gets into music, it gets into education a lot. So, and of course, at UNESCO, this is a very important theme for us. Our E in the name comes from there. And what you see is that for good and bad, right? So we have, and I think in Ukraine, you have the same problem, many kids that are smart and use ChatGPT in order to do essays without checking or at least they think they are smart, without checking sources, but still very often, especially if it's in a foreign language, it is almost as good as the one they might produce. So I'm Italian, and I would bet that 90% of the Italians that don't speak English, if they feed the system and say, look, write in English an essay, and this is the content I want, perhaps ChatGPT writes a better essay than what they would be able to write, right? So this is, let's say, the negative part, because we know we have a lot of professors and teachers that won't be able, A, to spot it, and B, to recognize it or to guide the kids in the right direction. The good news is, think about all the time you have to write these horrible letters, that you have to be very formal, that the content is very little. And then you can say to the team, you know what, this is the list of people I need to write to. This is the role, so adapt the language so that if it's a president, you want to have it a bit more formal. If it's a friend, it's informal, send it. 100, 2 minutes, gone, right? But then also the customization of education, it is. Suppose kids are going through a very difficult chemistry class. There are those that are very smart and will get right away, and there are those that suffer in that. So AI can help provide an example, creating material that is customized and might enhance the ability of these kids to learn, perhaps as quickly as those that are very versed of course, the ones that are very versed perhaps will be, will take less or will take less effort. But the other ones can see their skills enhanced. And actually, I'm going tomorrow morning to give a presentation on AI jobs and skills. And I was going through the latest research again, that to scan whether in the last week there was something else. And then I encountered one of the paper I had read some time ago, but I didn't really remember. And actually, what is interesting, and these are the kind of the leading scholars on the topic, is that it is indeed the case, what they find, that if anything, AI is likely going to be capabilities augmenting rather than substituting people. And again, of course, this tells to the tasks and the skills of people, but also to the kind of education they might need. So that's going back to the original question. AI touches any domain, is a tool that helps performing decisions normally. Of course, then there are issues related to that.
Excuse me, but when you were talking about AI, I captured in my mind that you are like talking about culture itself. Because if we take, for instance, a great book or a great painting or a great opera, it will combine fun when you're like looking, and it is joyful for you to just to look or to be a part of it or to read it, and then it is because if this is the great piece of art or great book or great opera or great theater play, it will teach you something, and it will give you education, and in all those parts combined, that's why AI is. And when you mentioned this example with the song about your report or recommendation, it is a missing part of culture in this field. And I would like to direct to another part, is like playing game. And playing games or gamification in education and in business is a very significant part of life. And surely hackathon itself is like a game. So Yevgeny, could you please maybe comment on the game part of AI, and who is the player in such type of games? So which type of problems can these games address?
Thank you, Stas. And one of idea that I heard from Mariagrazia. It was about kids, which can easily create some homework, for example. And we now think about the game when the kids should prepare AI, who should give the homework to the teacher, for example. And when you should create the AI, not just a text, you should think about, right? That's why, for example, we can easily start like AI users, yes, AI creators, and learn something from AI. That's why, and the interesting idea about the music. And for example, we now create games for business school. It's a strategy game where big people should create. And it's interesting if we transform the strategy to the music, because when you analyze some difficult content, it's maybe better start from the music, and we can transform the analytics to the music or to the picture, for example. That's why we have a lot of options from AI. but it should transform how we work with AI, not just create a text, create a music, and like a fraud, right? From the children to the teacher, for example. And we should transform how we work with AI. And that's why we propose the game, because we believe that everything started from the game. And we believe and we try AI infrastructure, make like a game infrastructure where we can play like hackathon, for example, but our ideas should become like AI. And for example, your idea in simulation with challenge AI should to pitch and should explain why the idea is good for us, for example. And when we start think by other side, create AI for AI, simulations, it's power of people back to us, you know. We start creating, not only users. That's we believe in the game. Thank you.
Thank you again. Mariagrazia, what do you think about this process of gamification? And have you seen some similar projects in other hackathons?
Oh, yes. So to be frank with you, the playing, it's the best way of learning and doing things, having fun, kind of. Now, those that think that games are not useful, they should tell me what do they think that the pilot trainers, what is this called the simulator, is, if it's not a game. The result of that is that planes don't crash. And pilots can train without spending a huge amount of money in terms of gasoline, in terms of aircrafts, without polluting, which is non-negligible, and having the possibility to train in extreme conditions, because then, of course, it's AI generates the environment, the visual, etc., and then you are embedded in this, let's say, structure where you feel the vibration of the plane, where it moves. So it's really so real that they get trained to face extreme conditions that it would be impossible to train in real life. So by that, then you save a number of lives, because if a pilot finds himself or herself into a turbulence, I mean, I'm not going to give the details, but for whatever reason, I'm very much into these plane things. And I know that planes are produced in order to stand turbulences up to level 6, right? So level 6, I can tell you, I've experienced level 2 or 3. Normally, pilots don't go more than that. Then they go around the cloud, etc. And it's already very scary. Having them trained in turbulence 6 means basically you have to put them perhaps through a hurricane or something like that. So it's something that you don't want to do, because you're risking the life of people and a lot of money as well. So, you know, and that is actually a game at the end of the day. It's the evolution of games that picture. So it's artificial intelligence applied to the scenario, the transformation, the aeronautics setting, the atmosphere. So there is a lot of knowledge that goes into this. And it is through a game that they learn how to not be in trouble by the time troubles present themselves in real life. So games is the best way to think out of the box. And I mean, I think let's say the most interesting developments everywhere, not only in AI, in general, come from a brainstorming that is kind of free in what you can achieve, perhaps given a problem. So I think that's exactly what is the case here, which is very, very interesting, and gives you the possibility to experiment. Because to think of the games also, there is another component that I love about the games. Now, one might like it or not, but it's the fact of working under pressure. And in real life, when problems arise, there is pressure. Time is not in infinite supply. So you have to resolve a problem, and you have to resolve it within a certain time. Otherwise, either you're doomed or it's useless, right? So that's why I think hackathons, especially in a technology like AI, to test the concept, the viability. Then, of course, there can be refinements and see the viability of a product or a result or a solution. But the conception, the working under, let's say, the stress. And there is another thing. The hackathon is something that normally you can't do alone. You have to be in teams. And so that actually tells you two things. One is to learn. Now, you can go do that with your pals from old life, or you can actually, there are instances in which people recruit online the kind of profile they are not, to complement. But then you have the ability, so you take the ability, you earn the ability by the time you do an hackathon and through playing, basically, because there is no sanctioning at the end. Yeah, I mean, if worst comes to worst, you lose the game, but it's not that there is anything happening to you. And so you learn how to coordinate. There is leadership that at some point emerges. So someone takes the lead, because otherwise you might not be able to finalize. And it tells you how to scan and learn about the capabilities of the others, which, if you see any statistics about the labor market, it's a set of skills that are enormously demanded. So if you look at what are the skills that are demanded, for instance, for AI programmers, it's, yes, of course, the Python, the alike, the neural network, some do some approaches, others do others, fine. But then you have a set, kind of about 30% of the skills that can be found in job ads that are actually related to the social emotional skills. So the ability to relate to the other, ability to cope with change, because also in the hackathon can be that your computer breaks, right? You have to do something. You have to restart. So there is this resilience still under stress, where it's more difficult to take decisions. And I mean, I'm telling to people that are in Ukraine, so you know what it is to be under stress. And what you also learn is, if the situation cannot be recovered fully, is to think quickly about what else can I do. And this is invaluable as an asset. So it is a game. You have fun. And let me put another thing on the table about the games and the hackathon, and thinking in a certain time frame with an objective that is very clear. And this is the possibility also to form horizons. That is, at a certain point throughout the game, you have to weigh possibilities and alternatives, knowing that some might be feasible, others not. And this teaches you to something that is very useful also outside. It is like, by the time a problem presents itself, can be a more serious problem, less serious problem, start building the horizons that you might see. This is technically called really foresight and futures literacy. It is like the ability to picture the future in a much more concrete way, and that then informs what you're doing. So this is all skills and abilities that you gain through a lot through hackathon, which at the end of the day is a relatively short investment in your time. What is a few days? It's not that you're spending years like you do, for instance, when you embark on a long-term project, or it's like something that you embark on education, they realize, this is not exactly what I wanted to study. Perhaps I would have liked to study something different. So this is the beauty of the hackathons. And I've been involved in a few, actually. One of the most funny ones was one I did in 2017 or 18, where it was very, very explicit and strict. Like we asked the programmers to do, and we limited, for instance, it was up to 4 people in a team. There shouldn't have been more. And we gave them 48 hours to build an AI leverage system that could do some specific patent analysis and display it in a way, and that was I think the challenge more than anything else, displayed in a way that we thought that could be easily understood by policymakers, which of course are not very used to look into patents and technologies and this stuff. So this is what we put as a challenge. And we got some things were really super cute, and very useful. And then you realize that, they found a way of solving this problem, which nobody would have thought, kind of. So this is also the thing. And I know that from that hackathon, teams of research started, and that then ended up in companies, and so was an idea. During that hackathon, people realized, there is a market, there is a need that is not satisfied. Let's work on it. And so then some became even a business endeavor. So, I mean, playing is not only about fun. What is in there, and of course, in addition to the fun, is a lot of gains in terms of skills and in terms of ability to grow, lead, and manage. And this is, I mean, I think it's great for someone to do that. Now, I am a bit old for this, but it's sometimes I don't code, but frankly, I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, so I want to stress that you have not necessary to be a coder or programmer to take part in hackathons and in our hackathon also. Surely there will be opportunity to create a product or project MVP here at the hackathon, and I will ask Yevhen to tell a bit about how companies created, because we are focusing not on business now, but for NGOs and for like humanitarian aspects of it. But I know that Yevhen is from business fair, but we would like apply those patterns to NGOs, and there will be also a lot of students present there this Saturday and Sunday in Unit City. And Yevhen, could you please like draw some types of this interaction, in-game interaction with Black Box?
Thank you, Stas. And we all know that sustainability starts in business, right? Because a lot of companies prepare the ESG report, they work with OON and something, etc. And I believe that when we talk about, for example, analytics about some accounting report, financial reports, it's easy to understand the numbers in this report, right? But when we talk about the social and when we talk about the impact, it's very difficult to transform to the report. And I believe that AI and the game can help us with the impact strategy. We can say impact strategy, when business can understand why they need to be part of this. Yes, because everything around us is changing. People, employee choose a company which have the impact and etc. And it will be good if we try to create some game where companies can simulate. For example, if I include in my strategy the impact, how I can change the culture inside my company, the loyalty of my clients, how it can become money for me, because it's okay that business believe in money, business believe in profit, but we should combine them. And Black Box now propose infrastructure where you can create the AI person, for example, or AI model, generative AI model, and put the model inside the simulation. But I would like to say again that it's easy to simulate some numbers, but it's difficult to simulate some socials and some impact. And we believe in AI that can give us the opportunity to start simulate social and impact. So that's my answer for your question.
Okay, thank you, Mariagrazia. How do you think are those AI models like generative AI models like Mistral or ChatGPT-4 or Llama, are they able to simulate people with provided culture characteristics, social characteristics, and in such simulation, will it be useful for NGOs and like way of playing game? How it could be, how it can be applied?
So I think that AI can be really powerful, and the generative AI especially, but depends on how you use it. It's like everything. Any tool is as powerful as you, depending on how you can use it. So yes, for sure. I mean, our colleague just said that it is really about also modeling the social. So this is a fundamental part of the interaction. For instance, think about, well, NGO or international organization. What is the behavior across the spectrum of things? Sorry. Sorry, it is 11 p.m. here, and I'm talking since this morning. So just a second. Something in. Oh, just a second.
It's okay.
Otherwise, I will continue.
Mariagrazia, please take a cup of tea.
Yeah, it's okay. We drink. We can do
We
it.
drink tea. You know, we drink tea here.
Exactly.
I'm very sorry that I cannot give you my cup, but
it's fine. We are too far away to ask for water. But I know that if I have something like a mint, it would go. So
okay.
it is, it is very useful because you can model responses, you can model probability, and check the odds and identify what could be the problems. For instance, if you're leading towards an agreement, or also if you want to understand. Very often, let me put an example, and this is very useful for any kind of international organization or NGOs. I'm sure you have heard about the Silicon Valley, no? And how innovative they are, etc. And the many policies that around the world, many countries have implemented to recreate the Silicon Valley of whatever. Okay, I'm Italian. They were trying to do the same there. Now, analysis based on AI and generative AI in particular, because generative AI accelerates the possibility of having results, basically, if used in the right way, is that this is a kind of that in policy we know very much, but very seldom we remember by the time then we design it. That is, ceteris paribus doesn't exist. That is, what can work in Italy might not work in Ukraine, it might not work in whatever other country, right? So by the time they take a model and they copy it, it seldom works because there are constraints, social constraints, infrastructural constraint, access to credit, access to legislation, implementation of safety rules, whatever, you can name it. So especially by the time we want to replicate, for instance, a policy that has been successful. Let me do an example. There is a very, very, very nice example of a project that is called in Brazil, that is for the societal inclusion of kids and their families, which is called Bolsa Familia, which has proved to take a lot of people out of poverty. So really a very, very good example. Now, implementing the Bolsa Familia in, say, Ukraine or Italy needs to have different characteristics, but it's not trivial to understand which exact characteristics and how the infrastructure, the social condition, the framework condition, the legislation, the agent, the stakeholders are in other countries. So even for international organizations or NGOs, AI, generative AI especially, can help picturing which kind of adjustments you need to do in order for whatever model to be able to work in another place, for instance. And this saves a lot of money and leads to the effectiveness of the policy. So, of course, it's for the tech business, but it's also a lot for an institution like mine, for instance. I'm at UNESCO, and for us, it's very useful. And I mean, just to make you an example, our member states got the report I produced in July, also thanks to ChatGPT, because at a certain point, we dropped into there some of the abstract to create groups of technologies and understand what are we talking about. If I hadn't had those tools, research would have costed like perhaps 4 times as much and impossible to do in 3 months, right? So it depends on how it is used. Now, you have to be aware of the fact that by the time you prompt things into ChatGPT and you continue prompting, it eats itself, so it repeats itself, and it inputs the biases even more. So you have to be careful and knowing that, well, there is no such a thing as that source that says that, because that journal doesn't exist. So you have to check on things. There are shortcomings still, but it is very useful for technology purposes, as it is for market purposes, of course, for companies, but it is very, very useful also for institutions like mine and NGOs for sure, because typically NGOs struggle to find the money they need in order to implement the societal projects they have. And so picturing better, structuring better, verifying alternative, playing with what the different futures they might have, or the different application of a certain project can help improving the impact a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and surely if the NGO is not as big as, for instance, leader who can get employees from
as well,
experts from other sectors, surely the generative AI model can help to simulate such people and give this knowledge to the NGO.
Absolutely. I mean, it's also a way of, you have to have some skills, nevertheless, to prompt in the right way. Otherwise, you junk in, junk out. So that's clear. But it's true that then you don't need the three analysts. It suffices a person, for instance, that can prompt the right way and can have results that otherwise would be impossible.
Yeah, on this note, I propose to make a pause in our conversation to Sunday. We will be happy to see Mariagrazia online and Yevhen offline this Sunday on our hackathon. And thank you, Mariagrazia, for this communication and also for inspiring speech on 16th of November. And we will be happy to see you at the hackathon, and surely when we will be able to come to Ukraine, we will be happy to meet you here.
I come to come to Kiev as soon as possible.
Okay.
So it would be a pleasure to meet you in person.
Mariagrazia.
Yeah.
See you.
With pleasure. Take care and good luck to those that compete. Huh? Put your best efforts in, because it's a lot of fun and it's very useful to you and to the others. So enjoy. Young generation. That's the one that needs to be able to to use and dominate it. It's very nice. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Creativity a lot. So see you someday.
Yeah. See you.
See you.
Bye.
See you.
Thank you to all our participants and auditory. So next meeting will be this Thursday in 2 days.
Иди сюда, тебя уже не видно.
19 p.m.
Да иди не бойся.
Thank you and goodbye.
Ciao.
Ciao.